This is the Queen of Politics edition of The Aaron Cruz Show, the political weekly wrap-up that packs a punch with your host, Aaron Cruz.
Hello and good evening and welcome to The Aaron Cruz Show, coming to you from Palm Springs, California. This is the Queen of Politics. I am your hostess, Aaron Cruz. Thank you for joining me. Tonight's topic, media and Congress. Sex, drugs, and out of control. Yes, sex, drugs, and out of control. If you've been paying attention to the news, you've seen it all over the place. Between the media, Hollywood, and DC, all we see is sex, drugs, and out of control. We're going to talk about that tonight and try to get to a little bit of what we can do as Americans and as citizens to combat the information war right in our homes and in our communities, and address some of the issues that are impacting us as a result of the corruptocrats in D.C., in the media, which are propagating the kind of sloth and just the slime and the just disgusting, repulsive things that we're seeing all over and through Hollywood in relation to sexual harassment and allegations and pedophilia and all sorts of just So we're going to talk about how we combat that. And one of the things I'm going to bring up, and I'm going to bring it up right now so I can move past it, is my book is coming out. I'm so excited. Thank you for all of your support, everyone. I'm so appreciative. It's Revolution America, and I believe that you and I, we are the revolution. The revolution is in our mind, and the revolution starts at home. And my book is going to release on December 15th, but you can pre-order it now on Amazon and Barnes & Noble. You just go to my website at www.aaroncruz.com and click on one of the links. There should be some on the homepage. Pre-order that today. It's great. It's an under $20 gift for some friends. It'll mail out on the 15th if you pre-order it, and it'll get to you by Christmas, by Hanukkah. Yes, pretty cool. And again, read it yourself and pass it on to a friend. You know, when you're through with it, it's a great read, and I know everybody will enjoy it and take something from it. So let's move past this because, you know, one of the things I talk about in my book is communication. It's a communication book, obviously. But one of the things I talk about is how we relate to ourselves and the people around us, and how that impacts our world, you know, and our communities. I mean, our children, flows out to their schools, flows outward, you know, through time and through life into the community at large. Also, many of us are active politically and whatnot, and so everything we do, everything we come in contact, the way we view things, the way we act versus react, all of this, okay, we have the ability to transform our homes, our communities, and our nation, right? So how do we do that? How do we combat what we're seeing in DC, what we're seeing in the media, what we're seeing in Hollywood, okay? I mean, one just has to say that I am not shocked. You should not be shocked at the allegations that have come up against many different people. This has started long ago, well before the election cycle, well before the last presidential election cycle, well before that presidential election cycle. I mean, this has been an issue. This meaning sexual harassment, this meaning sexual assault, this meaning inappropriate behavior between the sexes. All right, it's been going on since the beginning of time. Okay, and it's not something. What we're seeing, how we're perceiving things, seems new. Yes. So back, Bill Clinton let's just roll back not even that long to the 90s. Yes? So we go back to the 90s and we look at when the little blue dress. Yeah? I don't want to get into the details and the debauchery that happened there, but the little blue dress and the testimony in front of Congress and the scandals surrounding the president, Bill Clinton of that time, it comes to mind and it comes to light that there were inappropriate actions happening within our own White House. And, little was said about it. How long has that gone on? Well, we know from history's past that these things, these actions in D.C., they've been going on for a long, long time. And it's not unique to just D.C. It's not unique to just Hollywood. It's not unique to, say, Matt Lauer in what is it, NBC News? It's not unique to the media, even. Humanity, over time, with information and the flow of media and other aspects of civil society and, well, let's just say social society with the internet and other forms of communication, it's just become more visible, predominant, brought to the forefront of our minds via our eyes and ears. The internet has many positive aspects, and it also creates what appears to be chaos. Now, I have to say, one of the things that's the most striking about sexual allegations, sexual harassment, sexual assault, allegations of times past, in the case of Roy Moore, who's running for Senate of Alabama, I just have to say right now that as we look at all of these allegations and the exposure of the internet and social media of these individuals who are coming to light with allegations, there's something that we need to talk about. Okay, there's a difference between allegations and actual misconduct, actual sexual assault, actual sexual harassment. In the case of Al Franken, in the case of Conyers, okay, Conyers, if you've been paying attention, Congressman Conyers, he had some years back been accused, okay, of sexual harassment, and he settled the case. $27,000 he settled for. And the question is this: why settle? Why settle? I've read and read and read. Really, I mean, I just have to say, why settle? If you're not guilty, bring the accusations to court, and either one, my name will get cleared, or two, I will be shunned out of the halls of Congress. But don't rub my name into the carpet. Don't rub my name into the dirt. Yes? So the question is this: why would an individual settle a sexual harassment suit? So as to, there are a few reasons. One, so as to not expose the person, bring any kind of gleaning light on what could pose to be many other further allegations by other individuals. If you were an accused person and you were guilty. The other reason might be, you don't want any press. You don't want, it's an election year. You don't want to be, questioned, right? Look what's happening with Moore, yeah, in his race. Well, the other reason why you might want to settle would be because you want to put on a gag order. That is correct. What happens when you settle, you have a financial settlement? Generally speaking, there is a gag order. There is a non-disclosure agreement. There, basically, the victim or the accuser is put in a position where they cannot speak about the accusations. And quite frankly, it is just that. It's a gag order. It's basically a paid silencing. And then we have the people who say, well, I don't know that would be why you would want to do this, why you would want to settle sexual harassment case with financially. Other gold diggers might come up and see an opportunity and falsely accuse you. Look, the fact of the matter is this: if you are innocent, it's a dirty mess if you've been accused of improprieties, if you've been accused of breaking the law, because essentially that's what it is. There are federal and state laws protecting employees from sexual harassment and improper and unwarranted behaviors. Yes. So, and there are so many details to that section. We could do an entire show on that. But we won't. We'll go ahead and we'll stay topical, and we're going to talk about the people involved and why and how and what we can do to change things. So when we look at these sexual allegations and why the settlement would want to be pushed, and we see that there could be these supposed other accusers that come out and looking for money, looking for a payday, looking for an opportunity. If you're above board, people are going to say you're above board. You act in a way, you carry yourself in a manner, you behave in a way which is becoming of your position. You are above reproach. People know you, they know your character, and that you are not a person who would engage in that sort of activity. It brings to mind, and I know many people have talked about this, when the vice president was somebody wanted to meet with him, and he says, well, as long as my wife is there. Look, you can chastise the man to high heck, okay? You can chastise Pence Vice President Pence to high heck for what he said. As a matter of fact, many media outlets did. They chastised him. They basically pointed their finger at him and laughed. What is he that he has to have his wife there? He can't have a meeting? I mean, how pathetic is that? Well, now people see, well, maybe that wasn't so silly after all. Perhaps that's just a gleaning of, look, you're not going to put me in a position where my honor is questioned, where my value systems are put at risk, and my name could be tarnished based on allegations. Because as we see most recently with I don't know, there's a half dozen or more individuals who have been thrown under the bus simply by allegations. And folks, I talked about this a couple weeks ago. Allegations are just that. There's nothing substantiated about an allegation. There's nothing incriminating about an allegation. At the point where an allegation gets pushed forward and they start calling for evidence, I mean, look, we live in the United States of America. We are innocent until proven guilty. We all need to really think about this when we jump on people, when we go to call them out and essentially rub their name in the dirt. We are innocent until proven guilty. And sometimes, and I'll even say that I am guilty myself of running prejudgments. And many times people say to me, why don't you talk about this hot topic? Why don't you talk about that hot topic? Yeah, that's what's really hot right now. And I said, because you know what? The details just are not out yet. And every once in a while, I'll be in a private discussion and somebody will say, what do you think about this? And I just say, you know what? I really can't comment on it, because the fact of the matter is we have a lot to figure out about the situation. And that, more often than not, is what we're seeing right now. And that's how I'm saying media and Congress, media and Hollywood and Congress. Media is they are basically the people, the individuals that control, that actually push the information. Okay, Congress can take action, but media, they are the ones who pass the information around. And we're talking major media, okay, mainstream media. the big news outlets that reach hundreds, I would say hundreds of millions of people. There are over 300 million people in the U.S., but millions and millions of people here in the United States on those platforms, and the information spreads fast. It's viral. It's quick. It's near instant. Yes, they are the individuals, the media, the individuals who are passing this information. They're the ones that are responsible. They're Liberty Teeth. They're supposed to report what's going on in D.C., report what's going on to the nation, and keep the public informed. And what we're seeing more often than not is a knee-jerk, is a quick kick, is an instant need to get that headline, rather than gather the information, which should be supporting and documenting, because they are responsible. I mean, media, we are all as citizens responsible for what we share and what we talk about, and the direction our nation goes. But media especially has a responsibility to the people to be accurate and ethical. And what we're seeing is that many of the people who are the media heads or the talking heads or the contributing heads of these major news outlets are compromised. Now, the question is this, like in the case of Matt Lauer, right, which has come out, this issue was exposed with Matt Lauer a long time back. And not only did Matt Lauer carry on in a sexual harassment type fashion with a fellow employee, seems like he's been accused more than once now as of today. Not only did he engage in such behaviors, which he's now been fired for, but he pointed the finger towards other people, accusing them of carrying on in such a matter, in such exchanges. Look in the mirror, okay? I'm going to be frank with you people. I'm going to just be downright frank. I pride myself on being a good person, but I am not perfect. None of us are. But the fact of the matter is this, is that when we have people who are in these positions, your past is your past, your present is your present. It's something where, at a certain point, you expect that how many times, okay, I'd like to talk about this for a second. I'm going to kind of go on a tangent. How many times have you talked to a reformed drug addict or a reformed alcoholic, or, somebody who's been through certain experiences or came from a certain background or what have you, and now they're thriving. They've grown, they've learned, they've experienced in life that there's so much more, and they have a project or a focus and a real space that their life is moving into and perhaps has already moved into. Okay, and they use their past to create a future, to create their present, to create a future, and they impact the world in such a dynamic way. And in the church even, I've heard testimonies, many testimonies of individuals who come to the Lord and repent. Repent, by the way, means to change, essentially, and repent of their past, of their history, of their sins, and changed. There was a fundamental transformation within themselves, and their lives were transformed to the space where they now are reborn. And for those who are not religious, just hear me out here for a moment. Their lives are changed. And I'm not saying they're perfect, but quite frankly, people, if they recognize and acknowledge that they have faults and they don't want to remain in that place and they want to transform their lives, change the direction of their lives, and make positive contributions to the world, I am not going to begrudge anyone who comes from that space. But if you rise on a platform of perfection, if you rise on a platform of a stellar gold trophy of wonderment and fabuloso, to a place of high stature, okay, and grandeur in a media outlet or in Congress. Because I'm going to tell you what, right now, where you are right now, who you are right now, who these other people are right now, the whole package matters. So if you rise to a place of grandeur from your gold trophy of goodness and wonderment and a perfection, only to find out that you're not perfect at all, that you not only are you not perfect, but you've been using your stature and your status to guard your predatory nature, to pull the wool over the eyes of those that might be watching in order to manipulate and control and abuse those around you, using your position of power to do so. Those people are the ones I'm talking about. The people who like Matt Lauer, or the people who like Al Franken, who most literally has photo evidence of his just obscene and grotesque acts, admittedly taken part in behaviors which were just not only against the law, all right, they're just a disgrace. It's disgraceful to himself, disgraceful to his family, disgraceful to the nation, to the office of which he holds, to the positions which he was working in at the time when he committed these acts. Nobody held him accountable. Nobody held the standard. People took pictures. People did, who in their right mind could stand and do nothing against such a man? And I'll tell you who. The people who stand behind and do nothing are just as bad as those who take part in this sort of behavior. The predators which prey on their victims. And so we look at Al Franken and we look at Conyers even, sure, he's not been proven guilty. He's settled out of that sexual harassment suit, but it brings up a lot of questions. Brings up a lot of questions about ethics charges. I mean, his own wife was, as I was reading reportedly yesterday, his own wife was in trouble for some scandal and in trouble with the law. And Nancy Pelosi, stands behind Conyers, lauding him. Now, how can you laud a person who quite frankly could be guilty of such a crime? Now, he is innocent until proven guilty. And this is where our issue stands. Okay? Because, what we're hearing now, because there have been so many allegations, and we talked about this a couple weeks ago, what we are seeing is a much bigger picture as it relates to media, as it relates to Congress, as it relates to public positions. And we're seeing a massive shift in the slandering of people who are in our highest offices. Quite possibly, like I've said before, this could be the largest intimidation tactic or slandering which has brought our Congress to a place of our. I mean, I am speechless. I'm rarely speechless, but brought our Congress to a place where we really have to look at things. We really have to look at the process. We really have to look at the people who are running. Not only do we have to look at that, we have to look at the vote, the way the media is playing the vote, and the people who are interacting with the media, who are impacting the vote, because that's what it comes down to. There is a massive push to manipulate our voter records. Not just the records, but the numbers. Through manipulation, through the press, through sexual allegations, slandering of names, slandering of families. I mean, it's we've seen dirty politics for many years. We have. We can't deny that. And we can't say that the media is 100% responsible because they are reporting. However, what we've seen this last year, okay, comes up to the point where we have to acknowledge the beast which is before us. We have to acknowledge the beast which is before us. All right, people? We have an opportunity. People are presented to us as citizens of the United States. We have a selection process, and we make decisions to vote on certain individuals with information, much of which is filtered by who? The media. Right? Think about that for a minute. Where do you get your information from on the person you want to vote for governor, for whatever office? Where do you your congressman, your state assemblyman, where do you get the information on these people? Sure, you have a voter guide, but when they go to a speech or they go to a rally or they have a talk or they have a town hall, or perhaps they're an incumbent and their record needs to be looked at before we decide to vote on them again. Where do we go to for the information on these people? The media. Yes? So the question is this: what do we do? What do we do as a people? Because at this point, if we're getting most of our information besides a little thing blurb in the voter's guide, and besides maybe an absolute record from votes that they voted on, actually looking at each individual vote, we're trusting media with the future of our republic. We're trusting media with the future of our state. We're trusting media, the liberty teeth, with our very being and existence as a republic in this great world of ours. They have a huge responsibility to us, to our people, to future generations. We can't let it go by when people like Matt Lauer are behaving inappropriately. We can't let it go by when people like Al Franken act in a way which is just against the law. And now we're seeing that, Weinstein, we're seeing that they're now saying it's a sexual addiction issue. Sexual addiction issue. I get addiction. I've seen it in the families around me and friends around me with alcoholism, drugs. You've probably heard of it or had a friend or heard somebody at church, or even perhaps you've been touched by it yourself. And there is such a thing as sexual addiction, yes. But what we're talking about here is not sexual addiction, okay? What we're talking about here is work. Workplace intimidation, workplace sexual harassment, workplace sexual assault. It's workplace. I want to emphasize this, okay? Because sexual addiction claims of the Weinsteins of the world are moot point when it comes to law. In a work environment, no matter how lush it may be, it is never permissible to sexually assault someone or sexually harass. Both are against the law. Against the law. Punishable by law and up to termination. Just because you live in a cush Hollywood estate or in a plush, in lavish place over in DC. Just because your workplace is at a dinner table conversing about and having a meeting about something does not give you the space to sexually harass anyone. It doesn't. And the excuse sexual addiction is a personal responsibility issue. If you have an addiction, be it alcoholism, be it drugs, be it sex, be it whatever, there are many, many different kinds of addiction. I personally am an admitted Diet Coke-aholic. I know it's a problem. I love my Diet Coke. I won't stop drinking Diet Coke. But the fact of the matter is this: that doesn't put my family in danger. That doesn't put my friends in danger. It's non-intoxicating, and it's essentially not harmful. But it is an addiction, and it probably addiction to caffeine, yes? But many people who have these other addictions, which could pose a risk to themselves, their health, dangerously, your life could be put at risk with alcoholism and drug addiction, and quite possibly with sex addiction, depending on what form of sex addiction it is. And in the case of Weinstein and others who are saying, oh, it's sexual addiction, look, everybody knew about certain things about certain people for a very long time. Did nobody stand up and say this is a problem? Well, his position, in many cases, or her position, nobody wanted to stand up because, the people who have power are the ones who control the money, control the influence, and nobody wants to tarnish that, right? But we as a nation, I believe, are stronger than that. We as a nation can push through this. We as a nation can shift the way we look and think about things, and shift and look and change the way we act. I am glad, in a way, many people have come forward and shed light on the situation nationally. However, what we have to see is shifting from allegations and empty pointing of fingers to taking action and filing charges against parties who are breaking the law. So that means when people are sexually harassed, they need to report it. When people are sexually assaulted, they need to report it. When people have, just say, sexual addiction, get help. If you know somebody that possibly could fall in the category of alcoholic or drug addict or have sexual addiction of some sort, or if you see something, talk about it. It's not enough to just shrug. It's not enough to just shrug. It's also not enough to just take information spoon-fed to us by the media and pass it around as if it's a main course meal. No. We have to question what the media is saying right now, because unfortunately what we're also seeing is misinformation, disinformation, misleading information, manipulating of the truth, perhaps slanting, sliding, exaggerations and whatnot. It's interesting to me when the media is talking about sexual harassment by Al Franken, when they're talking about sexual harassment by Matt Lauer, very little is brought up about law, that they broke the law. I was reading about how Matt Lauer was fired. One thing I noticed in every single one of the articles I read was nothing said that his employer was going, or the individual who was harassed against was going to raise up charges against him. Why not? Why not? It's one thing if an individual has, let's just say, made a really bad choice, and was fooling around, joking around, and something came across the wrong way, and it's a one-time deal, and it was taken the wrong way, or maybe just said something they shouldn't have said. They say, oh my gosh, I'm so sorry, I shouldn't have carried on this way. Yes, and you move on. You shouldn't have done that. It's another to blatantly sexually harass, intimidate, and carry on in a way which is against the law toward another fellow employee. My question is this: what will the people in power do about Matt Lauer besides laying him off? How about Al Franken? How about Conyers, that person who settled that suit? I'd really like to know what that was all about. I mean, were those legitimate items that were brought up, which Congress should have talked about? Should that action have been taken at the congressional level to unseat him for improper conduct? No, because he wasn't held responsible. He paid out. So the question is, why are we paying out all of this money to supposed victims? Why are we not holding our congressional members responsible? Why are we not holding hearings? And if they're innocent, they can move on. If they're not, well, not only are you fired, your career is gone, but then settle. Well, not settle, that's the wrong word, but compensation. There has to be some sort of victory, of justice for people who are wronged. And I'm not a social justice warrior by any means. Social justice is probably pretty low on my list. Reparations and those kinds of things. It's just, I just roll my eyes many, many times because of the information behind it. But as it relates to this sort of activity, you have to say there has to be justice brought to the victims. And the biggest thing I think we can learn is each one of us have a role to play. Each one of us citizens have a role to play. Go into your job, go into your family, go into your community, and be a good person, be a good steward, be a good witness of your faith, be a good witness to your life and all things good which you want for your family, for yourself. Be kind, obey the law, be respectful, be a hard worker. Be a good citizen. And I know that sounds corny, but it's really quite simple. If all of us did that, look at where we could be. If we were all united in that space, look where we could be. And I think it's important to look at it that way, yes. And so what do? How do we take action? It starts with us. It starts with when you read a news article and it's trash, don't pass it along. Or if you pass it along, put an excerpt on it and say what you're thinking about it. And be quite honest when you talk to your family, when you talk to your friends about certain topics, if it's relating to some of these sexual scandals that are going on, or I even hate that word, scandal. I mean, is it a scandal? Either it's true, the allegations are true, or they're not. And if the person is guilty, they're a predator and they broke the law and they should be held accountable. If it's not true, then they should be exonerated. Their name should be cleared. And we should all recognize that they're innocent. Move on. But we should all be good citizens and make good choices. Look to the media. Report only good subjects, good topics relating to the news. Hold these individuals in media accountable. Write the editors of the paper. Write the different media heads. If you're involved on Twitter, at them. And copy them on information. Call them out for things that you see that are inappropriate that they've written. Call them out for not addressing the issues that are important. Call them out for fake news. I mean, I hate to say there is fake news out there, and there's super fake news, but there is fake news out there, and it's impacting our votes. It's impacting our congressional offices. It's impacting our highest forms of government. If you want to look at collusion, if you want to look at improper activities, you don't have to look to Russia. You don't. You don't have to look to Russia. You can look right in our media. You can look right in our social media. You can look at the media outlets, and you can see very clearly that Russia is not our biggest problem. You can see our biggest problem is right here. And how do we combat that? By looking in the mirror. How do we combat that? One life at a time, one mind, one body, one action, one thought at a time. It starts with you. Revolution America starts with you, and it goes outward. So make sure and get involved. Make sure and contact those media heads and comment on social media that you see. And I know I'm repeating myself, but I just can't say it enough. Please. Speak truth. Speak truth. Now, I'd like to give you our number. I know that I do this every show. I'm going to give you the number to Congress. Okay, it's 202-224-3121. It's 202-224-3121. You can go to house.gov or senate.gov to contact your members of Congress. Please, please press them for truth, for transparency on sexual harassment, on sexual allegations and improprieties. We must hold these individuals to a high standard. Yes. You can also look up other resources on my website at erincruz.com. That's erincruz.com. Or send emails and inquiries to info@erincruz.com. Be sure to like me on social media. Now, my Twitter is @WagnerGirlie. That's WAGNERGIRLE. Yes, I have great patriots on there, friends, many years, near a decade. I think it's 9 years now. And just fabulous people, good conversation, sometimes a little bit intense. But, Twitter is a great thing. A lot of information really quick, but it really has been a great way for us patriots to connect. So follow me on Twitter. As always, we want to grow together. We want to find common solutions, find common ground. I will answer any questions I can. Do not hesitate to reach out. We are in this together, yes? Thank you for joining me for the Queen of Politics of the Erin Cruz Show. Please join me again next Tuesday evening, 7 to 8 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, okay, for Political Core. And we dig a bit deeper into the topics. And I'm sure you will love the show. Also, please send me information that you have on border. I'm going to do a border report in our next Political Core. We need to talk about that issue. We need to talk about illegals. We need to talk about sanctuary cities. It's huge. This is a huge issue in our nation. So please, if you have any information on that, send it to me. Okay? Send it to me, I'd say, by Monday. All right? I hope you have a great and blessed evening, all. Thank you again for joining me. God bless you, and God bless America.
To hear more and to learn more on how you can make an impact or about the Queen of Politics and the Erin Cruz Show, visit us online at erincruz.com. That's ERINCRUZ.com. Thank you for joining us, and see you at the same time and the same place next week.